When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Absolutely, unequivocally, yes, is the answer. Now, here is the host of The Long-Bearded Guy, the Chief Catalyst, Strategist Guide at Jewil International, Gordon D Melville.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see you. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate the fact that you're spending some of your finite resource called time with me. I really appreciate that today. Thank you so much. We're going to have part 2 today, Foundations, the sequel is what I called it. But I want to continue the series on foundation and why that's important. And we will recap. Last week, we talked about the project conception. So where does that come from? How do we get our foundation set? And the planning and building for a portion, design and planning, and then the building permit portion, right? Who gave us permission to have those foundations? Where does that stuff come from? So you're with Gordon, you're with the long-bearded guy. That's me, Gordon D Melville on Inspired Choices Network. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody that's here. What happens in those phases in our foundation? How does that impact us in our lives? When does it happen in our lives? Right? If our foundation was built when we were children, how does that happen? How do we look back at it? And when we're looking at trying to repair cracks and damage and whatnot, how does that happen? And how do we do that? And when does that happen? When can we make that happen? How does it happen? And why does it become part of our thoughts? How does that get initiated in the process? So we want to talk about that today. So come play in the chat room. If you're here, please jump into the chat room. And while you're there, when you get in, they'll give you a link to get into our live studio audience. So that would be wonderful to see you in the live studio. If you're not sure where, click on download the free app, the Inspired Choices Network free app. And you can jump in wherever you look look for your podcast, favorite podcast and whatnot. Now you'll be able to find Inspired Choices Network. It's a circle that says ICN, and it's pink and blue. So it's easy to find. You download it, you look for shows, and then you find my show and jump in and listen live. It's a one click and you'll hear what's going on. So hop into that. We had a very special thing, and I want to say a quick shout out to Christine McIver. She is the founder of Inspired Choices Network. We had a very amazing, and so humbled to have our platform increasing this week by almost double. So we have been going out on just over 250 platforms globally. That's a combination of live radio, podcast, and TV. And this week they increased our TV by more than 200 platforms. So now instead of going out on 250, we're going out on 450, which is absolutely amazing. And that's the hard work of Christine and what she's doing for us as hosts. So thank you so much, Christine. Really appreciate you. You're an amazing human being, and I love you. All right, so segment 1. We want to talk about what's the pre-construction. So we've talked about project conception, right? Where did that come from? How did that happen? And a lot of that was set up when we were kids. The design and planning as children, we didn't design or plan any of that. That was designed and planned by parents and teachers and our pastor and anything that we allowed to affect us, right? And who gave the building permits to have those done? Well, we didn't, our parents did, right? Those permits were done by people around us. Hey, Jose, great to see you. Thank you for jumping in today. All right, so what's the pre-construction phase? So the steps, if you remember, we went through the 6 steps of construction, and the first one was project conception. The second one was design and planning and building permits. Today we're talking about the pre-construction. So before once they have the design and the planning and they have the concept and they got all the permits, there's some things that have to get done before construction actually begins. So we want to talk about some of those things. And it happens twice in our life, right? Pre-construction happens 2 times. Once when we're children, and once when we realize, hey, you know what? I'm not where I want to be. or hey, you know what, I'm looking at my foundation, it's been rocked somehow. Sometimes there's a big experience in our lives, somebody close to us dies, or we lose a job or a career, or something around us happens where it's a catalyst to push us into a space where we start to really be reflective and look inside to find out what's going on with our lives. And so that's when we're talking about, as adults, that pre-construction. What do I have to do? Okay, so what are the pieces or parts of those activities in that phase, in a pre-construction phase? What are those steps, and why is it important, and who's doing that? Right, it's very important to do pre-construction, but that phase, and I want to read them because I didn't want to mess them up. The first piece of pre-construction is the initial meeting to discuss the project. They sit down, all the people that are involved sit down to discuss it. That's in a construction site, right? In our lives, that becomes the therapist or a coach, right? We had a coach, we reach out to a coach, the coach starts to tell us and show us, hey, this is the project that's going on. We share with them where we're at in our life, and we share with them what's going on, and we share with them where we want to go, or why we feel like things aren't exactly where they're supposed to be. So whether that's a coach, it's a therapist, it's our pastor, it's somebody we're opening up to and discussing what's going on. The second step is planning the design. So in our own life, right? Planning the design, looking at the plans. What is it clear? Do we know where all the doors are going to be and which way they swing, and how do they work? So all those things are going to get discussed on a construction site. On the flip side, in terms of our lives, planning the design is being crystal clear about our definite major purpose, not just thinking something in our head, hey, this is what I'd kind of like to have. No. This is what is going to be crystal clear, written out. This is what my definite major purpose is. And sometimes people get stuck there in terms of, what is that? What is my purpose? Why am I here? What's the point of living? What am I here to do? Why am I on the planet? And so having that real clear, definite major purpose. It's not just kind of, it's definite. It's a must. Tony Robbins says it's a must. Once it goes from, well, it's kind of maybe, to a must, it will happen. So my definite major purpose, I can have lots of other purposes, but my definite major purpose for my life is set right there. So that's planning the design. Okay. The third one is estimating cost. All right. And with a site, right, in construction, they're looking at all the concrete and the rebar and all the 2x4s, and are we going to use metal or wood, and what's the roofing and all the insulation and all that stuff. What is those costs on a construction site? What is that in our lives? How does that work in our lives? In our lives, estimating the cost are the sacrifices that need to be made to achieve those results and to get to where we want to go. And it has to be paid up front. Jim Rohn used to talk about, hey, there's a cost, but it has to be paid at the beginning, not at the end. Okay. It's not a paid on delivery. It has to be paid at the beginning. And so those sacrifices could be financial. They could be discipline. They could be self-discipline. It could be changes I need to make in the way I act. Right. My brother Jose there with the morning and evening routine. It's something I need to set up for myself. There's cost to that, financial cost, but there's a time and an input into who I am, right? As a human being, setting up my morning and bookending the day, right? To make sure, but that could be a sacrifice. Maybe I'm going to bed a little earlier than I expected, or that I would like to, but I have to, because if I don't, I can't get up at the time I need to in the morning. So all of those things, they could be sacrifices in there. What are the costs that are associated with setting up and repairing your foundation? The fourth one is managing project scope. So how big is this going to be? What are we talking? Landscaping? What are the other bits and pieces of this? And then when we talk about our lives, what we're talking about in terms of scope is our vision, our definite major purpose, and our goals. Where do we want to go? What's our vision for our life, right? It goes from vision back to, if you reverse engineer it, once you have your vision for your life, then you're backing up and going, okay, so what's the definite major purpose that's going to help me get to my vision? And then once I have my definite major purpose, I back up. What are the goals I need to set? So what are the stepping stones? Goals are the stepping stones to get to my definite major purpose. And so I want to set those out. The definite major purpose, once I achieve that, it'll change, right? But it's still going towards whatever my vision is. So identifying and managing, not just saying what it is, but managing the scope of where I want my life to go, right? Lots of people have no concept of where they want to go. How do you know you're getting where you want to go if you don't have scope, right? So that's the fourth one. The fifth one is identifying potential challenges. So, in a construction site, are we going to dig down and we've got clay? Are we going to dig down and we've got rock? Do we have what we need to have in terms of, identifying what the challenges could be? Do we have the personnel we need? Do we have the stuff we need here, right? How hard is it going to be with COVID, all the things are getting, supply chains are getting messed up. So, identifying potential challenges, what would that be in our life? Identifying those challenges. So obstacles, having a solution for those, and having a big enough why. We seem to do this thing as humans where we know how to do bits and pieces. There's a knowing doing gap, right? Bob Proctor talked about a knowing doing gap where we know what to do. Everybody knows how to release weight. Why do we have an obesity crisis happening? Well, because people don't actually do. They know, but they don't do. And so when we get a big enough why, right, we go to the doctor and the doctor says, hey, if you don't change the way your diet is and if you don't change and exercise some and you don't have those bits and pieces, you're going to die, right? And all of a sudden the why is big enough and we go, hey, I got to do this. I got to change, but for my health, I have to eat better and I got to exercise and I got to move and I got to get off the couch and stop eating bonbons and not watching so much Netflix. And there's nothing wrong with those things. You want to do them sometimes, but on the whole, you need to have your why be big enough. I've got to do this or I'm going to die. And I'm not saying you're going to die. What I'm saying is, you know what? When it becomes a must, right? When it becomes something that you can't do without. And we all have things in our life on our day where we go, hey, you know what? Whatever it is, this has to happen today. Regardless what else has to happen, I have to do this. And you know what? When we make that commitment to ourselves, we will make sure if it's something we want bad enough, we will figure it out and find a way to make it happen. And the last one is evaluation of the site condition, right? Where are they at now? What does the look of the land look like? Is it all muddy? Is it dry? Is it stony? Or do we have to clear trees? What does the site look like? And in our lives, that becomes the where are you at now? When you're talking to the therapist, you're talking to a coach, you're taking stock of where your life is right now. Because how do I know if I'm growing? How do I know where I'm going to get to if I don't have a starting place, right? In Google Maps, when you go in, I want directions to this place, and they go, great, where are you now? Before I do anything else, where are you now? And so you have to have that as a jump point to be able to get to be able to plot out what's going on, right? So we're going to talk some more about that in the next segment. I want to just do a quick shout out. I can't do this without my founder, partner, sponsors. And I want to talk, the first one is Jose Escobar. So thank you for being here, Jose. Check out the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf to learn more about the morning and evening routine mastery program, which we talked about, that is changing people's lives. The program will help you install systems on the bookends of your day to maximize your morning and evening routine. Incredibly powerful program. Set up your free strategy session with Jose today. And you can reach him at www.theentrepreneursbookshelf.com. And I want to shout out to Kathleen, is the owner and founder of Compassionate Healing Services. I'm really looking forward to the release of another podcast, a new podcast for her called Trauma Redefined with Kat and Joe. And these two heart-centric folks are friends who share the experience of being complex trauma survivors, who will provide a fresh take on how to tackle some of society's most difficult challenges in the mental health space, like suicide prevention, bullying, and so much more. It'll air on the Mental Health News Network in the fall of 2022. So watch for that. We're all kind of really excited to see when that comes. Reach out to her at Kathleen. That's Kathleen. It'd be helpful if I could read, at chsyoga.com. And that's Kathleen Schwartz. Thank you so much to our sponsors. We need to take a quick break. So you're with the long bearded guy. That's me, Gordon D Melville, on Inspired Choices Network. We'll see you on the other side.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewil International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the long-bearded guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey everybody, welcome back. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville on Inspired Choices Network. In the last segment, we were talking about pre-construction and what that means, what are the steps of that, and how that shows up in our life, right? On the comparison between it and our lives, and how we're looking to compare, or to not to compare, but to fix our the cracks in our foundation. Why is that important? It's important because the whole rest of our life, the structure is on that foundation, and if that foundation's not secure, it makes it very difficult because at some point, it may not be today or tomorrow or next year, but at some point in our life, if we build that house of cards on something that's not stable, it's going to fall down. So that's why it's important. I ground my foundation. I ground my foundation in Papa. I call God Papa because of my relationship, but some people are going to ground it that way. I think that's I want to ground it in some place that doesn't move. I want to ground it in some place that doesn't shift, right? That's going to be constant and always there. So when we're talking about our foundation, it's got to be good. It can't be cracked, right? It can't have damage. It can't have erosion. All life happening to us causes erosion, causes damage to our foundation as things happen to us in our lives, right? So the next step, we have pre-construction. The next piece in terms of actually building a house is procurement. What is that? It's a $4 word, $5 word, procurement. What is that? It means getting the supplies. What are the things that we need to get to be able to have, right? How do we build? We need stuff, right? We need 2x4s and cement and the rebar, and we need insulation, but we also need people, right? We need a site supervisor, and we need construction people, and we need laborers, and we need skilled craftsmen to be able to do the stonework and to do the brickwork on the outside and to do all those things. So procurement, if I can say that, is where do we find that stuff, right? When we talk about that we understand it on a construction site, where do we find that stuff in our life, and where is that coming from? And procurement in our lives are the tools we need to help ourselves, right? So some of those things are going to be things like extreme ownership, right? What does that mean? It means I'm taking ownership of my own shit. I'm understanding that I am where I am in my life. We all are, because of the choices and the decisions we've made up till now. And we can like that or we don't have to like that. It doesn't change the truth. We are where we are. To own that, we need to own that. It's ours, right? It's not because of an ex. It's not because of a boss. It's not because of our parents. It's not because we're adults, right? We're adults. So we need to take responsibility for our own stuff Don't give it. It's not, as soon as we talk about it's this person or it's because of this or because of, no. Now we're a victim. We're not victims. We have the power to be able to hold on to this stuff. We have the power to change our life and design it and make it what we want it to be. We have the power. We've been given and gifted the power to be able to hold on to our emotion and to understand how it works and to control our body and our mind. And lots of times I think we don't do that. We don't use the power that's available to us. And then we complain and wonder why we're not where we want to be. Right. So procurement, where are those tools? Extreme ownership. I need to start from a place where I go, this is where I am. Honestly, this is where I am. This is where I want to go. But these are the challenges. I need to own my stuff. I need to own it. And so that's a huge, huge piece. Answers are inside of us. Why? Because Papa's inside of us. The answers we need are inside. So a lot of times a coach and counseling, a coach will do, a therapist even, coaches do a thing where they will lead you to the answer that's inside you. It's already there. So they'll ask questions. And so again, procurement of the right coach and the right therapist and the people that you trust that are non-judgmental and are going to lead you and ask the right questions to get you where you want to go. Right? There's certain questions that need to be asked to lead you to where the answers are inside you. They're already there. Right? So we want to make sure that we typically put them out of us. And so awareness, right? A lot of times people will go, oh, I'm good. Well, that's wonderful, but don't let good become the enemy of great, right? Don't let good become the enemy of great, right? So I'm good. That's wonderful. You could be up here, right? Why not? Why can't I be up here? And once I get here, that becomes the good. And I continue. So I keep moving forward and I keep moving forward. What is that? That's intentional growth. That's intending to go, hey, you know what? I want to go to another step. I'm grateful, deeply grateful for where I am, full of gratitude for where I am, but I'm not content. Why? Because as soon as I get content, I don't push anymore. I don't try to get to that next level, right? And so when you're talking procurement in our life, I'm looking at the different bits and pieces of what I need to get to that next level. And awareness is a huge thing. If I don't understand where I'm at, if I don't have awareness, I have to know there's a problem before I can help change the problem or before I can fix the problem. I have to know there's a challenge, right? I can have the best program there is to fix and to solve and to cure alcoholism, say, right? But if the person doesn't go, hey, you know what, I'm an alcoholic, at least start there. They have to have an awareness there's a challenge, or they're not gonna plug into that. So having a really good awareness and then being willing to sacrifice who I am today to become who I was meant to be tomorrow. I gotta say that again. I need to be willing to sacrifice who I am today to become who I was meant to be tomorrow. And that changes every day, right? So once we get to tomorrow, I have to be willing to sacrifice that version of me to become who I'm supposed to be and meant to be the next day. And that'll continue to grow. It'll continue to move forward. It'll continue to intentionally expand. And they say, once the mind has expanded, it can't go back. So as we expand, and how do we do that? Procurement can be things like seminars, things like a morning and evening routine course or class to go through so that I get the structure and build the habit to understand how that works. Maybe it's books, right? I read 5 to 7 books every month. I'm always business books. I'm always reading stuff that's going to edify me or lift me up or expand me. I'm going to understand things a different way. I'm going to hear things that I haven't heard before, and that's going to grow me. And I'm going to hear things that maybe I don't agree with. But again, that's going to challenge my beliefs and go, hey, you know what? Why do I believe what I believe? Why do we believe what we believe? And so reading things that will challenge those things is going to be something that we want to be able to do. But that's an intention. That's an awareness. And if we don't have that, if if we're not paying attention and if we're not being intentional about wanting to fix our foundation to make it grow. Hi, Kristen. Great to see you. Hi, Bree. Thank you for coming. So that procurement, where does that come from? Who do we need in terms of personnel, right? Who do we need to be able to lean on? Who are we sourcing that are the skilled tradespeople in our life? That's our pastor. It's a therapist. It's a coach. It could be friends, but be careful with friends. Be very careful. It's not that, and people around us that love us dearly, it's not that they want to hold us back. They don't. But what sometimes will happen is that people around us that love us see what we're doing and see that we're expanding, we're raising our vibration, and we're achieving our goals, and we're moving forward, and we're headed towards our definite major purpose. And sometimes people get convicted when that happens, when they see their friends and family doing that, because they go, well, they're doing something I could have done and I gave up on myself. I've chosen not to do that. I've chosen to sort of go, you know what? It is what it is. I can't do anything about it. So I'm going to just sit where I am and be miserable. And that's their choice. That's absolutely their choice. But I didn't buy a ticket for that ride. I'm on my own ride. Right. And so having those people, be careful with friends. Crabs will do a thing, and if the crabs in the ocean, in the water, they'll do a thing in a trap, a crab trap. If you put the bait in the trap, the crabs come into it, they eat the stuff. Well, they all keep coming in, and then somebody goes, hey, you know what? There's no more food. They try and get out, and they hold them back. They'll pull them back from leaving, right? They'll try and not let them go. Right. And matter of fact, if they keep pressing and keep trying to get out and keep trying and keep trying, eventually the other crabs will cut off their pincers, so they can't grab, so they can't get out. Right. And they're not doing it because they're wanting to hurt them. They're doing it because they're trying to keep them where they are. Hey, this is where the buffet is. This is where the food is. Right. This is the good place. This is where we are. And so our friends sometimes will do a thing where they don't mean to hold us back, and they're doing it out of love. They're doing it from a place from their heart. They're doing it with love, but they're not on your journey. Your journey is not for them. Your journey is for you, right? It's for you. It's not, nobody else has to understand it, right? But think about that for a second. It's not our journeys, our adventures are not for anybody else to understand except us. If somebody else understands it, great. If we align with somebody else and can walk the path together, fantastic. That's awesome. And it's an honor to have that. It's a privilege to have that. But even those 2 people or 3 people or 10 people or whatever it is, they all have their individual journey. They'll get to their own definite major purpose, right? Or major definite purpose. So that's it's a combination of all those pieces. So procurement is having the stuff that we need, the books and the courses and anything else that we need, as well as the right people, right? To surround ourselves with the right people to be able to go, you know what, this is going to help me get where I want to go. This is going to make my foundation, it's going to shore up the cracks on my foundation. These books and these courses are going to shore up, right? It's eroded a little bit because of my habits have slid sideways a little bit. Doing programs and reading books that are edifying and are going to lift you up. Listening to the right podcast, listening to the right people. You know, ones like, I don't know, the long bearded guy, for instance, is a good one I hear. But you know what, but listening to those things, listening to something that's going to edify and teach you and lift you up, right? So that's again, I want to say that piece again. I have to be willing to sacrifice who I am today to become who I was meant to be tomorrow. And that doesn't happen without a solid foundation. That doesn't happen without checking my foundation regularly for erosion, for cracks, and for damage, and then putting the right procurement of people around me, looking at the pre-construction, making sure I understand what the deal is. I want to understand all the bits and pieces of that. I need to make sure I know, hey, what does the site look like? What's the ground? What are the challenges or obstacles I'm going to meet? All those things come together, right? And as you move forward, we'll talk about the next steps as we go forward. But we need to have those steps in order, right? A lot of times, in terms of some people go, I don't need a coach. I don't need a therapist. I don't need anybody else. I can figure it out on my own. And if the answers are inside me, the way you say, Gord, I don't need anybody else. The challenge with that is this, and I'll challenge you with this. A lot of times we can't see where our blind spots are, right? We are where we are today because of the choices and decisions we've made using the best logic and the most wisdom that we have currently, right? I've used the best knowledge I have, the best thought process I have to get to me to where I am today. If that's still not where I want to be, and my foundation has eroded because of life, I need to take stock of that. I need to be able to push. It looks like we have a question coming from Jose Escobar. At least his hand was up. If there's a question, by all means, jump in. We'll absolutely hear that question, Jose. Oh, his hand went down. Okay. All right. Maybe he hit it by accident. I do that all the time. I can't control my thumbs and I bump numbers and stuff. So if you have questions, by all means, put them in the chat. Put your hand up and we'll address them. So you need to take another quick break. So you're with the long bearded guy, Gordon D Melville. That's me on Inspired Choices Network. We'll see you on the other side.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewil International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Long-Bearded Guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey everybody, welcome back. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. That's me on Inspired Choices Network. So thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate that you're spending some of your time with us today. I appreciate that, deeply appreciate that. Like it, share it. That's how we get the reach out. Share this as much as you can. We want to make sure that that this is exposed to as many different places as it can be. We want this message to be something that goes out. My mission is to have a meaningful impact and a meaningful time, a meaningful connection to more than 10 million men globally in the next 24 months with a message of hope. And that's not going to happen without networks and groups of people and whatnot, me connecting. And it's been amazing to connect with all the people that are connecting and that are coming and joining me in this endeavor. So thank you so much. If you want to connect with me, the longbeardedguy@gmail.com is the quickest, easiest way. And I do one-on-one coaching. I do group coaching. We do keynote speaking. I do keynote speaking. I'm also an international best-selling author. There's a whole whack of different things that we can do to help you. So if some of those things are of interest, or you want to go deeper on some of these topics, by all means, reach out to me and we'll connect. All right. So again, thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com is the best way, the quickest, easiest way. So we're talking about our foundation and why it's important and all the different steps to be able to fix it or repair it when there's damage from life, cracks in our foundation. And we need that to be solid, firm, so that as we continue to build our life, we don't have a house of cards come down because we didn't shore it up, right? It may have been perfect when it was first built, but over time, as our life has happened, and for a lot of us, as we get into our 30s and 40s and some of us 50s and then beyond, right? We need to check very regularly. So I want to talk in this quick segment about what does it take to move and act to get these changes, right? A lot of times it takes a monumental thing going on. It takes something in our life that's a big thing. Like I say, a death of somebody close to us, a parent or a child, God forbid. But something like that rocks our foundation, right? That really, a divorce, a loss of a career, like some major things that happen, and we start to really question, what am I doing here and why am I here? And it rocks our foundation. It rocks what we thought was truth and foundational, and this is never going to change, right? My parents are always going to be here. This is always going to be this way. I'm always going to have this career. I'm always going to have this spouse. I'm always going to. And then something happens, and that becomes a catalyst to head us in another direction. It's a catalyst to be able to get us to look at ourselves and look in a mirror and go, wait, hold on, slow everything down. Austin Haynes says, pause and breathe, right? Pause and breathe. Humans are the only people that can do that. Pause and breathe. Stimulus, pause. That's where the strength is. That's where the power is in the pause. It's in the ability to stop and go, wait. I want to hold my emotion, and I want to make sure I have all the information before I respond. We do this thing where we have a stimulus and then we react. If I step on a cat's tail, instantly, right, I get a reaction. Why? Because they don't have the capacity to pause. They don't stop and go, hey, why did Gordon step on me? Well, maybe he tripped, or they don't have that capacity. So there's a reaction. And in as humans, we have the power, and a lot of us don't use it. A lot of us go stimulus, react, and we hurt people around us, and we do things we can't take back. We say things we can't take back. We put ourselves in positions that we can't fix. Why? Because we didn't stop for a second, take a damn minute and figure out, wait, hold on to our emotion. Hold on to what's going on and go, no, hold on. It could be seconds. It could be weeks, months. The point is, what I'm finding in my own life is that when I pause, as I'm learning to pause, probably 40% of the time, there's nothing to respond to, right? There was a stimulus and I had a visceral reaction to it, but I held on to it. And then I realized, you know what? There's nothing to respond to. Once I get all the information and whatnot, I'm good. It's all good. So a lot of times, what does it take to move us into that space is a major life happening, a major life trauma, sometimes a major life happening. Maybe it's something that happens to us. Maybe it's a car accident. Maybe it's diagnosed with something, right? It's something that we weren't anticipating. That usually spurs us. Why? Because it reminds us what our why is. Having a good, solid, strong why. Why am I getting up in the morning? Why am I putting myself through this? Why am I sacrificing? Why am I checking my foundation? What am I looking at it for? What does it matter in the grand scope? How come? I have to keep reminding myself, this is the deal. This is what I've got to focus on, what it is I want to achieve. And so, this big thing that happens, this life event that happens that stops me, right? I have to want to change. I have to want to have it be what it needs to be solid, right? And sometimes if I don't check on it, it should be done regularly, right? Is it going to happen overnight? No. Is it an instant process? No. As we all know, if you've ever had to have your foundation fixed, No, it takes time. Where's the crack? They know it's leaking. My basement's flooded. I know there's a crack somewhere. Where is it? And so they have to hunt around. And someone, again, a skilled professional comes in and looks around and helps us through that. They help find where is the problem. Oh, look, there's a crack. How do they do that? They pull all the drywall off. They pull all the insulation off in the basement. And they're looking, okay, we think this is where it is. This is where we think it's flooding. And they take all the stuff off. Does it make a mess? Yes. Is it neat and tidy? No. Is that going to happen in our life? Absolutely it is. It's going to be messy. It may not be nice and neat and quick. Most of the time, it's not. It's going to cause some challenges and upheaval in our life. We're going to have to dig around the edge of the foundation. Maybe that means some other things are going to come out. We're going to find out, hey, you know what? It cracked, or there was damage to my foundation because of a belief, a limiting belief, or a paradigm I've been holding on to that needs to get fixed, right? Having the checked regularly and then being patient as that process happens, giving yourself grace to know, you know what, it's coming. It will get where it needs to go. Trust the process. I come back again to the piece about the nutrients, right? Those challenges we're facing, those bits and pieces that we look at and go, oh, all these obstacles in my life. The nutrients we need, that's the dirt. The same as a plant. You put a seed in the dirt, you bury it in the seeds. Like, what the hell just happened? Right? Like, what happened? You buried me, right? There's a native saying that says, they tried to bury me. They didn't realize I was a seed. I'll say that again. They tried to bury me, meaning that they were trying to be mean to me or trying to hurt me somehow. What they didn't realize was that I was a seed. What does that mean? They put me in the perfect place to grow, the place I needed to be to grow. Why? Because that's where the nutrients are that we need as humans to help us grow. So embrace those obstacles, embrace those challenges, embrace that stuff. Don't push it away. Learn from it, understand and be patient with it. Right? It's a process and it's going to continue to happen. But the more I struggle, right, I can say, you know what? I'm not going to look. Yep, I know it's foundations, but my basement's, I fixed it. I sucked up all the water. It's gone. There's nothing here anymore. I'm good. Right? I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to stick my head in the sand and go, you know what? Like an ostrich. It's just there. Right? I'm not going to pay attention. Well, the next thing you know, my basement's flooded again. And the next thing you know, it's flooded again. Why? Because it's going to continue and it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Problems in our life like that. And if we ignore it, those problems are going to come back in an even more vengeance. Every time it gets worse. So the first time it flooded, it was just a little wet carpet. The next time it floods, there's 3.5, 4 inches of water in my basement. The next time it happens, there's 4 feet of water in my basement. We need to do this. We need to look and inspect our foundation. We need to do this internal inspection. And then we need to go and get the tools we need, right? And we look at it in terms of, people look in terms of cost. What does it cost? Oh, it's expensive. The books are expensive. You know what? Ignorance is expensive, right? You think positive reinforcement and reading and programs that are going to help are expensive? BS. That's cheap. Ignorance is expensive. Ignorance will keep us in a space that not just costs us financially, will cost us years of our life, will cost us relationships, will cost us careers, will cost us our definite major purpose. We stick our head in the sand and just not look at it. So I'm challenging you, please check your foundation. Look and see what's there, because there are some really good tools around you. And if you're not sure what they are or where to look, reach out to me. longbeardedguy@gmail.com will help you find tools, will help you find people, will help you find program. I can give you some really good books to read. I've read a couple, several thousand. But the point is, we can help. The resources are here. Reach out and help. I want to, just as we go, we got to go to break. But before we do it, I want to do another shout out again to my good buddy and my dear friend and brother, Jose Escobar. Check out his Connected Leaders Academy membership to take your business to the next level. This is the perfect tribe to learn, grow, and connect like never before. Again, maybe that's one of the bits and pieces that you need, right? Procurement. There's a good program. And it's amazing. I'm in it myself. It's unbelievable. The Connectors Leaders Academy tribe brings together some of the highest level entrepreneurs from all over the world. Set up a virtual coffee with Jose Escobar today. And again, www.theentrepreneur'sbookshelf.com is how you get a hold of him. And then my good friend, Kathleen, again, we're so excited to watch the release of another epic new podcast called Trauma Redefined with Kat and Joe. Those two heart-centric folks are friends who share the experience of being complex trauma survivors, who provide a fresh take on how to tackle some of society's most difficult challenges in the mental health space, like suicide prevention, bullying, and so much more. It'll air on the Mental Health News Network in the fall of 2022. Very excited. Watch for it. We're all looking forward to that. Reach out to her at Kathleen at chsyoga.com. Again, thank you to Kathleen and Jose being some of my founding sponsor partners. We're going to take a quick break. Look forward to seeing you on the other side. Thank you so much. You're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D Melville.
How much of our daily success relies on our mindset? Anything we are unaware of can still impact our lives. When dealing with our daily emotions that we all face, there can be positive outcomes we control. Why is the word stigma such a BS misnomer? Is living abundantly really possible for all of us, no matter where we find ourselves today? Join the long-bearded guy, Gordon D Melville. The Chief Catalyst Strategist Guide at Jewil International invites you to an enlightening, sometimes shocking discussion. He will be challenging you to explore your own answers to these questions and so many more. This will lead you towards living an abundant, successful life no matter how you define it. Gordon D. Melville is live Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Long-Bearded Guy with Gordon D. Melville. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to thelongbeardedguy@gmail.com. Now back to the program.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for your grace. I'm still learning how this broadcasting thing is working, so I'll get it eventually. This is only the third show, so I've got, 49 more to get it right. So thank you so much for that. And Jose, you had your hand up at one point. If you really have a question or whatnot, you want to make a comment, by all means, let us know. Get in the chat and let us know, and we'll address that. Thank you so much to everybody that's in my virtual audience. And again, you're with the long-bearded guy, Gordon D. Melville. That's me on Inspired Choices Network. So welcome back. Thank you so much. I want to just review real quick. In the last segment, I want to just talk about, just real fast, what have we talked about today? We've talked about pre-construction and procurement, right? Looking to make sure we have all the bits and pieces of our construction, right? We have the initial discussion, right? We've talked to our coach or our therapist. We've sourced that person or those people, depending on what it needs to be. We've planned the design, right? We have our definite major purpose. We know exactly what it's supposed to be. We know exactly what's going on and where we're headed, right? It's written down, it's clear, it's concise, it's to the point. We know where that's going. We've estimated the costs. We understand there's going to be sacrifices that we're going to have to pay up front to get to where we want to go, right? I have to pay for the ticket ahead of time. I got to pay with sacrifice, whether it's money, but lots of times it's time and energy and discipline and all these other things. Those are going to be some of those sacrifices. That's the estimating the cost. I got to manage the project scope. I have to have a vision, and then I have to have, if I run it the other way, I need a vision, back it up, reverse engineer it. Now I need a definite major purpose. How am I going to get to the vision? And then my goals are the steps it's going to take to get to the definite major purpose. I need to have all that written out. I need to have that. I'm managing that scope, project scope, identifying the challenges. Where am I going to have problems? Where am I going to have issues? What are the things obstacles I have to overcome? What are things, and how am I going to do that? What are the tools I'm going to use to get past those things, or to be able to handle or deal with those things in a positive way? Those are identifying those potential challenges. And then evaluation of the site condition. Where am I now? Where are you right this minute? Right? Taking stock with your coach or with your therapist or with whoever it is that you're talking to, with that person. Where are you now? Taking an honest stock and look at the foundation. Is it eroded? Is it damaged? Is it cracked? What are the challenges that I have for myself in the middle of what's going on? Right? So those are the big pieces there. What's procurement? I need the bits and pieces. I need stuff. I need books. I need courses. I need systems. I need workshops. I need stuff. I also need people. I need skilled, trained professionals around me. People that have either gone where I want to go, that can help me hold my hand. I don't want a travel agent. I don't want somebody that goes, hey, go there. I hear it's a good place. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a guide. My title at Jewil International is Catalyst Strategist Guide. Why? Because I'll hold your hand and walk through the trench with you. That's what we need. That's what you need. And in terms of checking your foundation, you need someone that knows what they're looking at and knows how to help you. So that's the people, right? That's the procurement of the stuff I'm going to need, as well as the people and manpower I'm going to need, as well as understanding my why. Why is it there? Why do I have what I have, right? Why am I looking to look at my foundation? Why is that important? Because as my life continues, if I don't have a solid foundation built on bedrock solid, and for me, that's Papa, whatever it's going to be for you, it has to be solid foundation, because as my life continues to go up and as I continue to build on that foundation, if I don't build it on something that's solid, if I build it on sand, it's going to collapse. It's a house of cards. And at some point, maybe not right away, right? We don't see the cracks right away. Eventually life erodes us, right? Those storms of life and things happen, and the ground shifts and settles a little bit underneath the foundation. And that'll cause damage. It'll cause erosion. It'll cause cracks. That's why you inspect it regularly, right? I don't wait till my basement floods before I go and check to make sure things are what they're supposed to be. I get it done proactively. I make sure I'm always in that space looking to make sure I'm doing the right thing. So I'm challenging you. What is your why? What is your definite major purpose? What is your foundation built on? What is the structural? Because if I don't have that, I'm going to have a whack of challenges. And we wonder, why am I having so much problem in my life? Why can I not get where I want to go? Why do I not have what I want to have? Papa wants us to be abundant. He wants us to live abundant, not just in our money, in our lives as a whole. Abundance. And we look at it and go, no, I don't. Why am I not living abundantly? Well, because our worth and our value, it goes back to that for me. If my worth and my value says Papa wants to give me the ocean of abundance, if the ocean represents what he wants to give me, and I show up to get that gift from him, that abundance from him with a spoon, because that's what I think my worth and value is. This is all I'm worth. This is all I deserve. And then I turn around and go, you know what? This abundance thing is BS, right? I blame him that I'm not living abundantly, that I don't have abundance. It's not on him. He'll give us what we want if it lines up with where we're supposed to be, right? But we have to ask, and then we have to go anticipating Papa's going to give us that, or however you define your higher power, right? Universal intelligence, however you describe that person, that entity. We all know it's there. But finding that foundation is a hugely important deal, right? I must have my worth and my value built on that foundation, anchored in that foundation. So thank you so much for being here today. Again, we're going to do this again. My next show is Friday, August the 5th. You can find me again at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. We're going to talk about Foundations Final Chapter. So the last little piece of this, and we're going to come back to it a bunch, but that's the end of it. So I want you to go and make it a great week. I'll see you next week. I love you. Big hugs, and see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into the Long Bearded Guy Show. You are appreciated and loved. Gordon D. Melville returns Fridays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific on the InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, make it another great week, leading with love, powerfully designing, crafting, and living out your positively impactful legacy life you were created for. Big hugs!